I got my, my beef mixture going, my ground beef filling for taco night. You can find that in another video, but now I'm gonna make a couple of accompaniments. So we're gonna make a charred green tomato salsa. You might have seen me make this before. It's one of my favorite salsas to make. For the charred salsa, we're gonna get our tray, turn our broiler on, get that preheating. And then I'm gonna take tomatillos. So tomatillos are, you know, they're members of the nightshade family. They are related to, you know, Chinese lantern plants, if you've ever had those, or Cape gooseberries. But, you know, they look like green tomatoes, but they are not. Although that said, this salsa technique is one that you absolutely could do with green tomatoes or even red tomatoes. It's something that is pretty versatile. One of the nice things about tomatillos, though, is that they are very, very tart. So typically you don't need to add any other acid to this. You know, with a regular tomato salsa, you might want to add some lime juice or maybe some vinegar or something. But with tomatillo salsa, you don't need to because they are very tart on their own. Tomatillos are also very high in pectin, which is you know, the fruit sugar that is used to make jellies gel. And so a tomatillo salsa is going to have a really nice sort of body to it. It's not going to be watery. It'll have a really nice sort of clinging thickness to it. I'm going to get enough tomatillos to kind of fill out this tray. I'm also going to do half an onion here. We'll just roughly chop that up. Get those pieces on the tray. I'll do a serrano chili. And because I'm going to be serving this in a party with a bunch of kids, some of whom like spicy foods, but some of whom don't, I'll remove, kind of wash out the ribs and seeds from here. The capsaicin is mostly concentrated in those ribs. Some of it rubs onto the seeds. There's a little bit in the flesh, but it's mainly in those ribs. This on here also. I'm gonna grab a few cloves of garlic too. Yeah, let's just do all those, use them up. Now I'm gonna take my tomatillos, split them in half, and get them on this tray. You can also, you know, use the same technique, change up the ingredients a little bit. So, you know, say replace half the tomatillos with green chilies, you know, Anaheim chilies or Hatch chilies, or even poblano chilies. Treat them exactly the same way, and then use that as the braising liquid, the base for a chile verde, you know, so you can get some chicken legs or chunks of pork shoulder into that mixture and simmer it on the stovetop until everything is tender, and it makes a really excellent green chili. You could also sort of puree it with other green ingredients, so like say pumpkin seeds, cilantro, and form the base of a really good green pozole. You know, add some chicken stock to that, add some hominy, heat it up, serve it with some sliced up onions and cabbage. It's really good. All right, so that's what we want. We're gonna throw this under the broiler, as close to the broiler element as we can, and we're just gonna broil them until they're nice and dark. All right, so really nicely charred on top and pretty well softened. It doesn't smell burnt, you know, it's the char on a tomatillo doesn't smell burnt, but it smells, I don't know, deep and rich and smoky. But they retain, you know, that tartness and a little sweetness. And the onions also, you know, onions and garlic pick up some sweetness in this process as well. If you want it to be real hardcore, you could do this in like a molcajete, you know, like a Aztec mortar and pestle. But I'm gonna use my hand blender for this. So we got our tomatillos, charred onions, charred garlic, charred serrano chilies. I'm just gonna toss in some cilantro, some salt. Salsas, I tend to season them quite highly, you know, because they are a sauce, you know, and so they're meant to season the other foods you're eating. And so any kind of sauce, I want it to be really sort of highly seasoned. So it should be, at least for me, it should just be on the border of almost too salty, but still delicious, you know. I'm just gonna kind of pulse this. Make sure I get those cilantro stems. But I'm gonna pulse this until I get sort of the texture I want, which is not quite smooth, but not super chunky. Also really good. And a little bit more salt. Occasionally you do this and you find that maybe it's not quite tart enough, in which case you could add a little bit of lime juice, but like I said, tomatillos are a very tart fruit, so you probably won't have to.